Wait, hold on. You kicked a pregnant lady out of her own seat? Why? What? In what world is that ever acceptable? I can't think of any. Happy apple picking day. I wish our mascot would come join us, but she's really liking this rug. As you guys can see, I'm experimenting with lights. Work in progress, work in progress. Anyways, moving on. Just your weekly reminders. If you want to transfer your stories to be featured on Am I the Bad Apple, you can send them to my subreddit, r/Am I the Bad Apple. And as a reminder, we all come from different branches of the apple tree. And what that means is that we all live different lives and have different experiences. And because of those experiences, we're going to hear stories differently. We're going to interpret them differently. We're going to latch onto different details differently. That's human experience. And as we converse with others, whether it's friends or strangers on the internet, we kind of start to figure out what pieces we're missing or what things we didn't think about or how that actually sounds out loud. That's what a part of constructive conversation is all about. Just a reminder as we're conversating down the comments. So without further ado, let's get started with this week's episode of Am I the Bad Apple? Let's go apple picking. Apple number 1. Am I the bad apple for not taking a loan for a friend? My friend has been struggling to get a mortgage loan and needed a down payment. While I was in Greece visiting my boyfriend, she sent me a message asking if I could take out a loan for her. I'm unemployed and I've been job hunting for months, which she knows. She begged me, saying that this was her last hope. Her sister promised to help, but backed out. She needed $5,000, but was asking for $10,000, promising to repay me in 10 days once she could pledge another house for money that she hadn't done yet. She needed the loan fast to secure the mortgage, and she was crying that she needed it ASAP. At first, I did want to help, but since I was abroad, I couldn't really get the network to work and couldn't get in contact with the bank, and the provider failed. I told her I'd just sort it out later, that I was on vacation and not in the country. But while I was on my trip, my boyfriend told me not to do this. He pointed out that even if I trusted her to repay me, a lot of things could go wrong. And if anything did go wrong, I would be stuck with a $10,000 debt while I'm unemployed. I also started to find it very unsettling that she was asking for double the amount of money that she needed and never really told me why. When I asked her why she needed $10,000 instead of $5,000, she said it was to pay off an old loan for her brother. That made me uncomfortable, so I started to lean towards saying no, but instead, I panicked and lied, saying that my provider wasn't working because I'm a people pleaser and have a hard time saying no. And since I didn't actually say no, she kept persisting and pushing and guilt-tripping me for not prioritizing her and her needs. This went on for 2 full days, and the entire time she kept calling me and messaging me, and I kept saying I was having dinner with my boyfriend's family. It's my first time meeting them. I'm spending time with them. But she kept calling and messaging and trying to get me to talk to the provider in the bank and saying it would only take 10 minutes. I spent a lot of time replying and really regretted not just saying no, but I was in way too deep of the lie to back out. I offered to lend her money from my savings, and another friend offered to help too, covering the $5,000 she needed, but she rejected it, saying that she needed the loan, not savings, and accused me of not trying hard enough. I got frustrated, and I told her that it wasn't fair to demand help like this, suggesting she ask one of our wealthier friends, but she insisted no one else could help. I suggested that a third friend of ours could lend some money, and with the money that I can lend with my savings and will add to something, this third friend had a good salary. I only know this because I accidentally saw her bank balance once while we were out together, so I knew she had money. They're also very close, so I was confused when the third friend snapped, saying that she didn't have money to just lend out because she had bills. Well, the conversation kind of spiraled, and my friend accused me of lying for 2 days, making her jump through hoops and not helping her when she would have helped me. I told her that I was doing what I could. We all haven't talked since. And the third friend, the one I mentioned with the good salary, also very distant now. Apparently, she's very offended that I brought her up in the discussion. I later found out that my first friend did manage to get a loan another way, so I guess there were other options all along. I know that I shouldn't have given her the money, but I also know that I shouldn't have lied either, and my friend is upset because I lied for 2 days, made her call around, gave her false hope about the loan. So I just want to know, am I the bad apple? Okay, listen. I was very comfortable just going crabapple because even though, like, I agree with you, you should not have given this girl $10,000. Like, no. That's so, everything about what she's asking is so sketchy. She won't take cash. It has to be a loan. Why? She won't take what she needs for her thing. She wants her friends to cover her brother's loan too. This, like, nothing about this smells right. It's very strange. And for you to be on vacation in another country, meeting your boyfriend's family, and she's like, come on, what are you doing? Priorities. I, like, the worst kinds of bad feelings. Like, the worst kinds of bad feelings about it. Something, it doesn't smell right, okay? It just does not. And I'll be honest, I'm very fortunate in that I was able to purchase a home, but I, like, the whole different kinds of loans and the mortgage, like, it all still very much confuses me, okay? I'm really lucky that my girl Kate, she's my buddy from college, she's my real estate agent. I love that woman. She just explains it to me like I'm 5. So a lot of the specifics in the story about the whys and the whats, I don't know. It smells weird. I don't like it. I'm not comfy with it. Giving her the 10 grand, no, would not do it. Taking out a loan in general for $5,000, even though that's that's the amount that she needed, I still would not do that. That's a lot of money to ask someone that's unemployed. Like I said, I'm very fortunate to live the life that I live. And I'm not going to name names, but I have a friend who, I'll never forget, last spring, called me in the middle of the night and said that they were stuck in another country and they were not making the kind of money that they thought that they were making, and they had nowhere to go, and their flight back home wasn't for a couple days, but they didn't even have enough for a hotel, and they needed money. And I sent them some. I sent them a lot. And this is someone who usually verbally advocates for always making sure that you cover your debts and settle your debts. So I was not concerned about not getting anything back. Like a couple $1,000s. They needed to I didn't know if they were safe. I wanted to make sure that they had somewhere to sleep and eat. Do what you gotta do when your friend's in an emergency. And I almost never saw it again. I would really like to believe it wasn't on purpose, but you know, they forgot for like 6 months. I think when it comes to friends, I can't imagine like forgetting, borrowing that amount of money from somebody. To each their own. Everyone's got different branches of the apple tree, you know? And that taught me that mixing money borrowing and loans and friends, I wouldn't mix it. I wouldn't mix it because emergencies are emergencies, but clearly this was not one. She had another avenue. And like, to be completely honest, even if there wasn't another avenue, so your friend's just not ready to own a home yet. It is so unfortunate that owning a home has become like a privilege in our generation, and I feel very privileged to have that privilege. I'm saying privilege a lot, but it's so unfortunate that that's kind of where the economy is right now, and my heart goes out to all of my friends who are struggling with that same journey right now, and everyone really that is. It's wild, and I've said before, you know, it's not a fortunate circumstance, like it is, but it isn't. I'm never gonna say, oh yay, I was so lucky to have life insurance money from a family member. That doesn't feel right to say that, but it is what it is. The point is, I'm rambling. My Adderall's wearing off. If they're not ready to buy a home and they can't afford to buy a home, they can't afford to buy a home. That is what it is. And I would never ask someone who is also struggling with their own finances, aka unemployed, to spot me not only for my big purchase, before someone else's big purchase, like whatever it is that her brother had a loan out for, that's just weird. You're 100% right, and good Apple in like not giving her the money. I agree with you 100%. You're right that you should not have lied about it. Like, not only did, I'm not gonna, like, I don't wanna, oh, you strung her along, because she shouldn't have asked in the first place. And she's kind of stringing you along with making you responsible for her brother's debt, and like, it is, regardless, like, you lying and coming up with this story, and you're ignoring time with your boyfriend and his family, and you're on vacation, and you're sitting on the phone with her, like, you're wasting everybody's time. And yes, she's also wasting yours, but you're not doing any better. And with that, I would just go crabapple. With that, I would just go crabapple. But you really, you got me teetering with volunteering another friend to be added to this mix. I don't like that. I got another life example. We were doing a content creator trip to Hawaii, and it was kind of a mix of some people who were already established creators and some people who really wanted to become established creators. And y'all don't know this because you don't always see the behind the scenes stuff, but I'm very, very passionate in the creator world about sharing anything anyone wants to know. I always want to share anything I've learned, anything that like equipment. Y'all know I talk about my editor, Lena. Like, I send everybody to Lena if they need an editor. Like, I love to help people. I love to support people. So when some individuals who were not quite there yet but really wanted to become content creators were like, we want to come, absolutely. One of them reached out and asked how the content creators, the already established content creators, were going to take on paying for everybody else. And I said, what? And they're like, yeah, Hawaii is really expensive. We just figured that since everyone else is like already making money, y'all are just gonna spot us, right? Like, you're gonna take on most of the bills? Who are you? Like, I don't even know your middle name. Like, we're not close enough for you to even know my middle name. What do you mean you want me to spot you on your trip to Hawaii? What? It's one of the reasons that I even get so, I don't want to say flustered, I don't want to say nervous, but like anxious when meeting new people and going, that aren't in the content world. It's like, do you like me because you think I'm nice and fun to hang out with? Or like, do you just want me to pay for stuff for you? Because like, I love to give my friends gifts. I love to, I go to trivia with friends on Wednesdays. I love to take the bill. I'm privileged enough to be able to do that and treat my friends and spoil them because I just love to do that. So like, are you doing that for that, or are you doing that for me? So like, if someone were to just like call me and say, hey, someone volunteered you to possibly lend me 5 to 10 grand, I would not be happy. I would actually be so offended. I would be so upset. And like, if it was for like, oh, there's an emergency, I'm stuck in a country, or my house burned down, or my car is totaled, I have no way to get to work, different story. We'll chat. But like, I want to buy a house, but I also want someone to cover my brother's loan. Oh, that's okay, Rebecca's got you? Excuse me, what? I'll tell you what, I'm going to go bad apple on that. Again, not because I think that you should have spent the money or lent the money, but like for everything that followed it. And y'all can just tell me if I'm if I'm taking it personally because of those little situations that I've experienced myself. Because that does make me really just, don't like it. Don't like it. It's the bad apple for the lying, bad apple for the wasting of the time, bad apple for the stories, bad apple for volunteering someone else to spend thousands of dollars. I don't like any of it. I honestly, I'd go bad batch, personally, and I'm not including the friend that was voluntold about the money. So like, yeah, bad batch, and if y'all let me know that I need to go a little easier, we'll chat. Apple number 2. Am I the bad apple for shaming my friend over rehoming her cat? My friend told a story about rehoming her cat because it wouldn't stop going to the bathroom on her bed. She said she put the cat in its carrier and just left it outside the door of a local salon before they opened. She said she checked in later and one of the girls had decided to adopt the cat, so rehoming was a success. But that's when I interrupted her and I told her that that's not what rehoming a cat is. Actually, rehoming an animal involves taking the time and the effort to find an owner and confirm an owner and vet them to make sure that they're not going to hurt or abuse the animal and that they'll provide a good home for them. That all she'd actually done was dump her cat in the middle of nowhere and crossed her fingers and hope for the best. She got really mad at me and said that I was shaming her. I don't think I was, but okay. Was I the bad apple? Oh, you for sure were shaming her. But here's the thing. You should. As you should. She deserves to be shamed. Oh my gosh, I cannot stand irresponsible pet owners. Y'all know that's like a huge pet peeve of mine. It's my little babies, like they're my babies. Those are my kids. They're my kids. And if you're one of those people that gets mad when people say that their pets are their kids, like you can just be mad. I don't care. I'm sorry, I don't. You are 100% right. Like when you have to rehome an animal, which I like, that already breaks my heart as it is. Oh my gosh, you're hearing us talk about kitties and you're coming to hang out. Hey baby, thank you for leaving my camera wires alone. The queen has arrived. All right, we'll continue. Or when you take on an animal, right? You are responsible for every single aspect of their existence. So yes, it irritates me to no end when someone gets an animal and just doesn't care what happens to it. Like, first of all, I'm getting ahead of myself. When you get an animal, there is a very short list of things that I would consider an acceptable reason to get rid of said animal. Did you not realize that? Was there a severe allergy that you didn't realize was present in your household and you didn't realize till you brought it home? That sucks. That's so sad. Does the animal have like a major aggression problem? And I'm not talking about, oh, my 2-year-old was tormenting the cat and it turned around and scratched him. No, that's your neglectful parenting issue. I'm talking like someone went to pet the dog who was asking for pets and he just randomly bit so hard that like it drew blood. And I'm using that as an example because like I know someone that happened to and it just shattered our hearts. I'm talking unprovoked. No one's messing with the dog, no one's hurting the dog. Did you figure out what was happening? Was it behavioral? Was it medical? Did you like actually attempt to look into that? I'm gonna assume no. Only because you dumped her outside of a salon. So if you can't even go through the process of like finding an owner for her, I'm gonna assume you didn't do all the other things. Meaning that I already don't like that person. I just don't. Like, look at this face. How could you ever be okay with parting with this face? But when you are faced with the decision that you have to rehome your animal, just dumping them somewhere makes you, sorry, I just think it makes you a bad person. What is wrong with you? Like, you just put it in the carrier. What if it sat out there in the, I don't know what the weather was like. Was it winter? Was it summer? Did they have food? Did they have water? Did it have a litter box? What if it just sat there and it was just sitting in its own poop and pee for 12 hours? Like, you didn't know, and you just left it there? What is wrong with you? I would cut someone out of my life for doing that, for sure. I would decide they are not the kind of person that I want to associate with if they're okay with treating a living thing that relies on you for safety and for food and for comfort and security. That's how you would treat an animal that you took into your life? No. One of my friends on Discord once told me that if reincarnation is a real thing, his only hope is to come back as one of my cats. And you know what? I take that as the highest form of compliment I could ever receive. I just have so much love for you. Oh, my sweet girl, you and your brother. Apple number 3. Am I the bad apple for getting the whole class's seating chart changed? I, 13 female, have had a very hard time advocating for myself. Recently, a person in my grade, we'll call him George, has been making me feel very uncomfortable. For a few weeks now, he's been throwing things at me and saying mean things constantly. I loved my seat in social studies. I sat next to my friend, we'll call her Mary, and a family friend, we'll call him Gary. And I loved working with them, but there was also George. George was the only person in our little group who never put in effort. Mary and I were one day sitting in the hallway about a week ago, and I was telling her that George had thrown his full plastic water bottle at my head. She was shocked, but we just did our work and ignored it because maybe it was just a bad day he was having. Then George and Gary came out to sit with us, and they sat on the other side of the hall, and they were just kidding around and acting fools like normal. But that's when George threw his empty bottle at us. I was shocked, and I had already told him I don't like it when things are thrown at me. Mary got mad at him and we kept the water bottle for a while, but then we gave it back. After he did it multiple times, we went back into the classroom to talk to the teacher. We had a sub that day, and this sub doesn't know me personally or anything, so they don't know how difficult it was for me to actually say something, but they didn't do anything. We told him we were being harassed and getting things thrown at us, and he just walked out and walked back into the classroom. Me and Mary ignored George for the rest of our class and emailed our social studies teacher about the problem. We thought George would just get moved, but now the entire seating chart is changed. George was mad at me and still didn't stop saying mean things jokingly, and I feel bad that everyone else got affected by my little problem, but I just need to know. Was I the bad apple? No. No, it's not your fault that the seats get moved. I used to move seats like every unit, I think, when I was a teacher. There's nothing wrong with you going to an adult and saying, this person is making me uncomfortable. This person is harassing me. This person is name calling me. This person is throwing things at me. Nothing wrong with that in the slightest bit. It's not wrong that you told the sub, and it's not wrong that you told the teacher. I don't see anything wrong with your teacher changing everyone's seats. I think there's a lot of reasons for a lot of things happen in this story. First of all, the one thing that I am going to, I don't want to use the word criticize because that feels very harsh, and you are 13 and you are learning to advocate for yourself. Why do you keep hanging out with this person? Why do you keep allowing him to be in your work groups? Why you do that? Don't do that. And again, I know you're 13 and you're still learning to advocate for yourself. I'm saying this because you need to stop doing that, for sure. And I understand he likes to hang out with Gary. They're buddies. Okay, so then you go to Gary, if he's your friend, and you say, hey, if you want to stay friends with George, that's fine. George makes me uncomfortable. I don't like being around George. I don't like being thrown at. You are not interested in telling him to stop doing that, and that's your prerogative. You don't want to get in the middle. But then I'm not going to hang out with you while you hang out with George. If you don't like that and you want us all to be able to be in a group, you need to tell your friend to stop, because I've asked him to stop and he's not listening to me. And I still don't think, and to you, the 13-year-old girl, I still don't think that you should be friends with George. This is not someone I would be friends with. I'm more so speaking in like civilly being around each other in a group setting. If he keeps throwing his water bottle at you, why do you keep giving it back to him? That makes no sense to me. I don't understand. If that happens again, what you do is you take the water bottle and you go to the grown-up who's in the teacher, the sub, whoever it is that day. Hey, he keeps throwing this at me. I want it to stop. Here you go. I'm giving it to you, the adult. Let the adult handle it. You don't just give him the thing he's using to torment you. Don't do that. No. I'll be honest. I'm not surprised that the sub didn't take action. Not because, like, so many people are going to misconstrue that. Not because subs, people always think that I hate substitute teachers. I don't hate substitute teachers. I've just seen a lot of bad ones. And it's not that they're bad people. It's that, at least in our county, literally anyone off the street can just go and be a substitute teacher. Like, literally. I'm not kidding. It's bad. That should never be a thing. As long as you don't have a criminal record, you can be a substitute teacher. And I don't think that's acceptable. I don't think just anyone in the general public who's not a predator should be allowed to be in charge of groups of people for the day. Groups of children. I don't think that is a thing. I just don't. It's not that substitute teachers are bad. Substitute teachers are not. The bar for substitute teachers is so low, it's agonizing. I'm not kidding. I told this story like a long time ago, years ago on podcasts. Podcasts I'm not a part of anymore. I quite literally had a substitute teacher who broke my rolly chair and wrote me a note saying it was the kid that made fun of him for breaking the rolly chair. You just can't make this stuff up. Crazy. And it's not that I'm saying that this sub was awful. It's that they probably don't know what to do. These substitute teachers, like, they don't really have training. At least in our county. There's not really training. There's not a lot of instructions outside of here's what you need to have the kids do today. Here's where the worksheets are. Here's how to get into the computer. Here's how to turn the TV on. Like, that's it. That's the instructions that they're given. So what did you want them to do? Change someone's gonna say, well, he should have written them up. I bet you money that sub probably doesn't know how. Probably has no idea how. Again, You have to think, subs are literally taking on different sub jobs in the county every single day. Like in our county, we have 17 high schools. 17 high schools. How many middle schools do you think we got? How many elementary schools do you think we got? All are gonna have different procedures. All are gonna have different contacts. All are gonna have different ways of doing things. So yeah, a sub that's in this elementary school and then that middle school and then that elementary school and then that high school, no, they're not gonna know the procedures for every single one of how to write up a kid. They're just not. What probably happened is that the sub most likely left a note for your teacher. And then when you followed up and also sent a note to your teacher that was helpful, and your teacher was like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and swap the seating chart. And it also doesn't surprise me that she swapped the entire seating chart, because if I were to get a note saying that kid A is harassing kid B, then I would obviously wanna do my own little investigation. I would wanna figure out what's going on, what's the severity, what's happening. Can we resolve it? Is he just being a jerk? Does he need to, like, I would for sure investigate, but I would want to, while I was investigating, do what I can to stop the problem, but also not draw attention to it. So if I'm trying to figure out why kid A is bullying kid B, I'm not going to single kid A out and make him uncomfortable and tense up and make him change his behaviors, right? I want to see it in the act. I want to catch it so I can report it and say that I witnessed it with my own eyes and this kid needs to be handled. We don't tolerate bullies in my class. So when you change everybody's seating chart, it tries to stop like the targeted attack, but doesn't make the bully feel targeted. Okay, is he gonna go out of his way to bother kid B, or is he gonna now target kid C because he's in a different spot? Like these are the moves. He's playing checkers, we're playing chess, okay? So again, none of the actions by the adults surprise me. You didn't do anything wrong, but stop giving him back the water bottle if he's throwing it at you. What? Good apple. I'm annoyed. Stop giving him the water bottle. Apple number 4. Am I the bad apple for kicking a pregnant woman out of her seat? Basically, I was doing a long travel day, probably about 5-ish hours or so, so I booked my train in advance to ensure that I had a reserved seat, and a good one that I wanted. When I get on my train for my traveling, I see that a woman is in my seat, so I politely inform her that she's in my seat. I even showed her my ticket to show this was my seat and asked her to move. She checks her ticket and says, oh, I guess I sat in the wrong seat, but didn't move and just looked away. I said, yeah, so can I please sit in my seat? At this point, her partner, who's sitting opposite of her, starts speaking at me in what I perceive to be a very aggressive tone. He suggests that I find another seat, which I can't. There are none because it's very busy. And I respond saying that I booked that seat and there are no other available seats in the carriage. He then raised his voice at me and said, well, someone else is in our seats and my wife is pregnant. I said, I understand. Everyone has their own medical issues. Okay, I have a heart defect. We all got stuff. We all got reasons that we don't want to stand for long periods of time. We all got reasons that we want to have a sit-down seat. But I reserved this seat. I paid for this seat. And I'd appreciate if you didn't speak to me in that aggressive tone. Because if you do, I'm gonna make a complaint. Oh, he did not like that. He started swearing at me. I spoke up and I asked him to stop. Oh, hi, baby. Hi, my sweet love. I know everyone missed you. Everyone's missed you. I know. Oh, my baby boy. We got those gatos. Eventually, during this verbal altercation, the woman does get up and allows me to sit in my seat, but the man just sits there. He continues to berate me, saying that he hopes I feel good about myself and that I'm quiet now that I have my seat. Which, yeah, why would I engage? There's no point. I got my seat. One of the men who was sitting next to the husband offered that his wife could sit in his seat opposite of me. It's a table seat, so there's 4 seats in that area. And he took him up on the offer, sat his partner down, and then pointed at me and laughed to my face. Eventually, when the ticket inspector came by, the 2 of them were asked to move to their assigned seat, and they asked if I'm okay, as I guess another passenger made a complaint on my behalf. So I just want to know. Pregnant lady had to leave. Does that make me the bad apple? Did I do bad? Did I do anything wrong? Should I have done something different? I just want to know. Not at all. Not in the slightest bit. Honestly, I got a lot of problems with this, okay? Not with what you did, but with the story, like with the husband, with the couple. I understand that there are a lot of people who went on a subway, right? Or at a bus stop or whatever it is. If they see a pregnant woman or an elderly person or someone who looks sick or anything like that, so a mom with kids, a lot of people will take it upon themselves to offer them their seat, offer them their spot. That is a normal thing, and that's great. That's so kind. Let's remember that these are usually for like 10-minute intervals. 5 hours is a long time. And I would never fault someone for not doing that for a 5-hour time interval. I also, especially if it's something that like they booked and paid for in advance, to not want to give up their comfort for 5 hours for someone that didn't. And again, you don't know their story, you know? Whether it's a mom or a pregnant lady, an elderly person, a sick person, you don't know. Maybe it was a last minute thing. Maybe they missed their train, it's a rebook, there wasn't enough seats. You never know. You never know someone's stories. All I'm saying, regardless of the reason, I would never judge somebody or consider someone a bad person for not wanting to give up a seat they paid for someone else, even if they like really needed it. I just wouldn't. When you add on the layer of like you also have your own medical condition, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I do not fault you for wanting to sit in your reserved seat when you traveled that you were responsible for. No, I don't fault anybody for that. Who I do fault is the husband. Because let me get this straight, you're making it a whole big thing, an ordeal, that, oh, this guy's so awful because he's making my pregnant wife get up, blah, 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 blah. Why can she not have your seat? Like, if she got up and she's standing and you're sitting there comfortably, crapping on this other person for not letting her sit, why don't you let her sit, my guy? Like, why is another stranger offering your wife her seat when, like, that's your wife? That's your baby. Is their comfort not more important? Like, what? If it's not more important to you for them to be more comfortable than you, why would you expect it to be important to some stranger? You can't even do it for your own wife and child. You expect a stranger to do it? Another stranger did do it. We don't know how long they were going to be on that train for. They could have been at the next stop. They could have been there for 9 hours. Who knows? Doesn't matter. Here's the kicker, though. Neither of them were in the right seats. They took 2 random people's seats. Neither of them were supposed to be there. Okay, oh, well, someone else took our seats. Then why are you not yelling at them? If you're that comfortable berating and yelling at someone for wanting to be in his own seat, why are you not taking that energy? Not that I think that you should be like yelling and berating people, but why are you not taking any of that energy and claiming your own seat that was rightfully yours? Like, that makes me feel like, are there seats that you claimed? Like, did you actually lose your seats to someone else sitting there? Because if you're that comfortable berating a stranger and like laughing and pointing in their face, oh, well, she got a seat. No one cares that she got a seat. He just wanted, or she, I don't even know if it didn't say. They just wanted their own seat. That's all. No one cares that she got a seat. They just wanted theirs. And if you are that bold and aggressive towards a stranger that wants their own seat, I can't imagine why you wouldn't tell someone who was in your seat to get up. So it just makes me believe that there weren't people in their seats. They just wanted that one because it was better or reserved or whatever. Like, that's what that makes me think. So I'm going good apple all the way. Okay, so I got 3 good apples and 1 bad batch. That's at least what I got. I would love to know what you guys got, if you got anything similar or different or what you have in mind. And as usual, if you would like a chance for your stories to be featured on Am I the Bad Apple, you can send them to my subreddit, r/Am I the Bad Apple. And for your well wishes today, oh, we got some interesting ones today. It is National Arabian Horse Day. It is National Mint Chocolate Day. And it is National Lash Day. I'm not gonna lie, if I had to pick like my favorite feature of my body, it would be my eyelashes. I got long eyelashes, I love them very much. And I do love mint chocolate chip ice cream. That's always been a favorite of mine. Like, I don't know if Goodberry's is a local thing or if y'all have it in other places of the country, but Goodberry's custard mint chocolate chip. Oh my goodness. You know what? We're gonna celebrate. It's gonna snow today. If it's not that bad, we're gonna go get some mint chocolate chip from Good Berries. You can't have any because it's chocolate, but I might get you a little bit of vanilla taste. You like ice cream. I don't have a horse though. So if you are a horse owner, you got horses, you love horses, maybe that's your day. Also, let me know in the comments which one you'll be celebrating. I'll be celebrating I appreciate my lashes every day, but we're gonna go get some mint chocolate chip if that's possible. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you have a great rest of your day and hope to see y'all next week. Bye, my lovelies. Mwah. And say goodbye to Milo, because who knows, he doesn't really come for these episodes. So who knows when y'all will see him again. Bye.